And good afternoon, folks. Chief Meteorologist Nick Lilia here, taking a peek at the tropical update brought to you by the folks over there at Pine Belt Gutters and Remodeling. Tropics, man, oh man, are we busy. Now, we're not going to worry about a lot of this stuff today, but we've got a lot going on out in the tropics. There we go. Circle them all up. Between waves, tropical storms, tropical depressions, remnant lows. There's a whole mess of everything happening out there, but all eyes are on Sally. That's the one that's closest to home now, a Category 2 hurricane with wind at 100 miles an hour, gusting to 120, moving off to the west-northwest at a very meager 6 miles an hour, anticipated to make a turn and head through parts of southeastern Mississippi and parts of lower Alabama, and then lift off to the northeast and then back out to sea. There's actually an outside chance that this thing gets back into the Atlantic and still has enough of itself left over to maybe try and reorganize itself again. We'll have to kind of wait and see. Pressure down at 987 millibars right now, 105 miles off to the east of the mouth of the Mississippi River. So what are the chances that folks are dealing with tropical storm force wind? Well, there's a pretty good shot if you're living in Mobile and Biloxi. The numbers have come down a hair for other folks and been raised for others. A 76% chance now in Hattiesburg, 87% in Laurel, and an 80% chance out there in Evergreen and Destin, a 74% chance. Hurricane force wind, yeah, there's actually a pretty decent shot for folks in Biloxi, Mobile, even as far off to the west as Bay St. Louis. This storm in particular has a lot of wind off to the east, but it actually has a fair amount of wind back off to kind of the northwest as well. In fact, tropical storm force wind extends out nearly 100 miles to the northwest of the center. So I know a lot of folks have been saying, oh, I'm on the west side of the storm. I don't got to worry about a thing. It's the dry side. It's the easy side. Maybe. The problem is this is going to be moving so slow, it's still going to dump a fair amount of rain, and you're still going to have to deal with tropical storm force wind, even if you're on the northwest side. Now, I wanted to show the spaghetti plots, not because they're that meaningful, but I did want to highlight something of interest, which is the models that have it continuing to intensify and be the most intense tend to pull this thing into basically the border of of Mississippi and Alabama, and points off to the east, while the ones that keep it as strong as it is right now take it over to the coast of Mississippi or the border with Louisiana, and then the rest of them take it out into parts of Louisiana. We can kind of run this out, and you can see that for the most part, unless you're the Tab S model, which this thing for whatever reason just died, which it won't, pretty much everything has this turning it to the north and moving into parts of Mississippi or Alabama. It is running out of warm water, but right now, and this may be tough to see when you're watching this on the phone, but it's passing over right now and over the last couple of hours, which may be the reason that you saw this kind of explosion. Some of the warmest waters across the northern section of the Gulf of Mexico, and the deepest waters across parts of the northern section of the Gulf of Mexico. So you not only had warm water, but it was voluminous. It went pretty deep. So that may be why we saw this real brief explosion. How much rain are we talking about? I'm only showing the European model here, which I think has stuff maybe a little too far off to the east. But you can see that 59 is kind of the boundary between the haves and the have-nots. And the folks that have a lot. Somewhere between 10, 15, even 20 inches of rain going to be possible as you get closer to the coast there, on the coast of not only Mississippi, but also Alabama and the Florida Panhandle. So a lot of rain coming out of this. It's not the only game in town. Interesting to note, this thing sticks around through Wednesday. The other guys that we're watching out here, floating around, and Paulette is up there, now back in behind the banner. A lot of these stay out to sea or don't bother anybody once we get done with Sally. A kind of a neato thing to watch as we head forward in time here, that's Paulette. It goes all the way up toward Greenland and Iceland, and then all the way back down again off the coast of Europe. This next wave may be one to watch. Teddy, I believe that's Teddy, gets lifted off to the north and should stay out to sea should it get picked up by the cold front that's moving through. We got Paulette in here, and then this wave kind of falls apart in here. So hopefully, as we move through the next couple of days, the things do start to die down. One more look at the Futurecast before I get you guys out of here with this. And I think our RPM, which is based on the NAM, is going to end up being a little too far off to the east, but it does highlight that if this thing wraps itself up and gets pretty well organized, it may feel the tug and the pull. There we go. Get my arrows, get my pencil work. Come on, pencil, work with me here. I'm going to have like 30 of these things show up in a half a second. Hey, you're not going to work for me. All right. It'll get pulled back off to the east. Again, I think this is a little too far east, but it highlights the fact that the stronger this thing gets, the more off to the east it will likely get pulled. So there's a look at your tropical update for September 14th of 2020, brought to you by the folks over there at Pine Belt Gutters and Remodeling.